So tomorrow, my team and I are filming a commercial, like a real commercial. And it's actually for my agency. So I own a local social media marketing agency, and I want to run an ad at the movie theater. Like a year ago, I went to the movies with my kids. By the way, I don't love going to the movies personally. I'm not a big movie girl, so I don't go super duper often, but I do go sometimes. And like a year ago, I went with my kids, and there's this entire section of ads that runs before the like actual ads for the movie trailers and stuff that are coming soon, right? And they're all local ads. And I was like, oh my gosh, I love this. Except the ads are kind of rough, and it's not the movie theater's fault. The ad company that does these ads just kind of puts together like slideshows with pictures, and that's the ad. And I was like, I want to do this, but I'm gonna do my own ad. So that is what we're doing tomorrow. I'm taking both of my full-time employees, my whole team, and we rented a studio space like 2 hours, an hour and a half, 2 hours away. Now, you may be like, why did you rent a studio space so far away? Because there aren't any closer. Trust me, I looked, and this was the best we could do. It's actually really cool. I'm so excited to show you guys. But as part of creating this commercial for the movie theater, for my agency, I'm gonna vlog the whole thing. That's part of the reason why my team is going. I'm gonna vlog the whole thing. I'm gonna like show y'all how we put it together. I'm gonna show all the things. But here's the deal. We can't even go into this vlog without a general idea of what I want the video to look like. Because if you want to be successful on the YouTubes, actually, if you want to be successful with any type of content anywhere, you've really got to be good at storytelling. You've got to be good at taking people from the beginning, making them be hooked to what you're trying to do, and then getting them on the other side as someone who was satisfied with the content they just watched. And especially with a vlog, I think so many people think you just vlog. Like you just get footage and then you put it in chronological order, and that is what the vlog is. And that couldn't be farther from the truth. I know I've told y'all this, but several years ago, I went to a YouTube intensive hosted by Tim Schmoyer. And at this intensive, I wasn't running a vlog channel, but there were other people there who were. And Tim had experience in both like a how-to channel and a vlog channel because he had like a family vlog channel. And I remember him telling the people then that you have to show, not tell, most of the time in a vlog. And that has stuck with me. That has stuck with me that like we need to show what's going on, not necessarily give people like a play-by-play verbally, but like show them. And in order to really do that, you've got to have your storytelling down. And this is not the case just with vlogs, okay? I have done how-to videos most of my career on the tubes. And there's so many of you that do how-to videos, and there's so many people who pay me for YouTube audits or things like that that do how-to videos. And there is an element of storytelling to that too. And there has to be, or you're gonna bore the pants off of your people. Last week, I actually did a ton of YouTube audits because a few weeks ago, I opened that back up. It was something I'd had closed for a while, and so I'd opened it back up, and I did a bunch of audits last week. And there were two things that I told people not to do over and over and over again, but the one I wanna talk about now is that over and over and over and over and over and over and over again in vlogs and in how-to videos, people were starting their videos with, "Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name's Jessica. Today we're gonna talk about XYZ." And they were wasting so much time in the beginning of their videos that should be reserved for part of the story, not an introduction to you as if it's a job interview. So while I'm getting ready for this vlog that we're gonna film tomorrow, / commercial that we're also gonna film tomorrow, and kind of making sure I have all the pieces in place and all the like storyline idea that I want to go with in place, I thought I would give you some storytelling tips. I thought I'd show you what I do and what you should be doing to make these stories like way more cohesive. Okay, so storytelling is a bit of an art, and the people who really grow on YouTube or Reels or TikTok or whatever have kind of mastered storytelling for that platform. And I've read and studied a lot about storytelling. This is something that I absolutely love to like learn about and learn more about and test out and try out and things like that. And there's a general formula for stories as a whole that's really oversimplified, but we have to also know that everybody who's teaching storytelling or has mastered storytelling has mastered it for a specific thing. So the way that we do storytelling in a movie that's 2.5 hours long is very different than you might do storytelling in a TED Talk that's 10 minutes, or a YouTube video that's 15 minutes, or a podcast that's 30 minutes, or a TikTok that's 1 minute, right? Like, all of these things have the same kind of core elements, but the structure and the way that you do it is different. And I think that's the part where I can help you out today. And let me just reiterate here. You need to be using storytelling in any type of YouTube video. I don't care what it is. How to, vlog, lifestyle, I don't care, okay? You need to be using storytelling, because if you don't, people dip out before you've gotten to the point. So we have this chart in our YouTube analytics that is for your audience retention, and we have average view duration, and we have several analytics in YouTube that measure this kind of how far do people stay in the video, right? Like, how far do people get in the video? Where is the biggest drop-off point? Where do people dip out? And this is so important because this is a huge analytic that YouTube uses to determine whether your content is good or not. Because you could do all the work to get the thumbnail and the title correct and do all the things and get people to click, but if they do not stay on the video, if they're dipping out really fast, if they're not consuming a good percentage of the video, YouTube is going to consider that this is not a very good video. And if you're like, how do I get people to stay longer? It's with storytelling. So what does a general storytelling format look like? Like I said a second ago, so many people who teach and talk about this teach and talk about it from different angles. So someone teaching and talking about storytelling for commercials, for movies, for podcasting, for books, is gonna teach it very differently, right? And the way we apply that to something like YouTube videos is gonna be very different. So let me give you kind of the general format, and then we're gonna kind of dumb it down for what I think a YouTube video needs to do. And I'm gonna show you how I'm using all of this to prep for tomorrow's vlog. So one of my absolute favorite books about storytelling is Storyworthy by Matthew Dix. And if you have not read it, please go do it, and please listen to the audiobook. He is so good at telling stories. He's so good at reading his own book. He's so good at everything that he does that the audiobook is absolutely worth the listen. But one of the big things that he says in this that I want to apply to the general story timeline situation is that you should always start at the opposite of where the video is going to end, or where the story is going to end, okay? So the beginning of the story should be the exact opposite of the end of the story. And he talks about how in movies, once you know this, movies will always be spoiled for you, but because you'll know, oh, the person was super happy-go-lucky and at the end they're gonna be sad, or vice versa. Or the person at the beginning was really down on themselves and at the end is gonna be happy, or whatever, right? And I think this is a really, really good thing to hang on to, but I want you to hang on to it loosely for YouTube videos because it is very, very different. We have a very, very different timeline and time frame to work within for a YouTube video than we do for a 2.5 hour or 3 hour movie. With a 3 hour movie, someone can set up the scene for 30 minutes and set up all the characters in the opposite of where they're gonna be or whatever the scenario is, and that way you have all of that foundation before you get going. And with YouTube, we have a lot less time. Think about how little time we have on YouTube to do that, but then think about how little time we have on Instagram or TikTok to do that. So while I want you to think about that, and I do think that's a really good kind of number one to our general storytelling thing, I also want you to keep it held really loosely and think about it as you're planning out your videos. And if it comes easily, cool. If it doesn't, move on to the next step. That is to catch the attention or draw the attention of the viewer to your video so that you can get into more boring parts and they're gonna stay. This is exactly why, hey guys, welcome back to my channel. We're gonna talk about X, Y, and Z today, does not work as the beginning of a YouTube video. And what works is a fun hook that gets them to be like, oh my gosh, I'm in the right place. I can't wait to watch the rest of this video. Where then, once they're hooked there, then you can say, hey guys, welcome back. We're gonna talk about X, Y, and Z today. So Real step number one of this general storytelling format is to catch or hook the attention of the viewer. Then, and by the way, this is that broad general storytelling format, okay? I'm gonna simplify it down a little bit for YouTube in just a minute. 2, you want to set up obstacles. So there's always gonna be an obstacle that characters and people have to overcome, or an obstacle that is in their way. So you wanna do the setting up of that. Then 3, you've got the climax, the big exciting part, the thing that everybody's kind of like anticipating is gonna happen the whole time. The obstacles being overcome that you set up earlier, and the ending of it to kind of satisfy the story / get them to the opposite of where they were in the beginning if you're doing that format. Now, like I say, this is very different for YouTube because we don't have as much time. The viewer is different, the format is different, and we're not movie producers. So for YouTube, what this looks like in its most simplified form is hook, meet, and ending. And I know that sounds insanely simplified, but if I did 15 audits last week and every last one of them was somebody opening their videos with, "Hey, welcome back to my channel. This clearly is something that y'all need to know." Hook, meet, ending. Hook them, get them excited to watch the rest of the video. This is where your average view duration, your audience retention on videos is going to get so much better, is if you will hook them and they don't get bored after 10 seconds and go ahead and leave to another video. You've got to keep it exciting. You've got to keep them wanting to stick around in the video, wanting to watch more. I watched a video like not long ago about storytelling from somebody here on the YouTube platform, and to be quite frank, his video was so boring and I couldn't finish it. I couldn't get past the first like 2 minutes because he was trying to tell me how to tell a story, but there was no interesting things happening in this video about how to tell a story, and it was too much, or too little, I guess. But he didn't hook me. He didn't quite get the hook in there. So my little fishy self wriggled off and went back in the water. He needed to hook me better so that I was there for the duration. Now let me tell you what this looks like in both how-to and vlog style content here on the platform, because I think it's the how-to content that gets everybody really confused on the storytelling part, and vlog content naturally has a story, but at the same time you can make it better by not just chronologically chronicling what happened and setting it up in this hook, meet, ending type of way, or going back to that like more structured storytelling format that we just talked about, where the beginning is the opposite of the end. You're really drawing their attention, you're setting up obstacles, you're getting to a high point, you're getting to a climax, you're getting to a really exciting part, and then you are overcoming obstacles and getting to the end. And so many vlogs are like this.
8 a.m. got up, 8:15 brushed teeth, 8:25 had impure thoughts, 8:36 sent dwarves off to work.
Okay, so how do you do this? How do you incorporate this, right? In a how-to video, this means that instead of opening with, "Hey, welcome back, this is my channel, this is what the video is about," because you know what you just did? You literally told them shit they already knew. They already knew what the video was about because they saw it on the title and the thumbnail. They already probably knew your name because it's probably the name of your channel. And like, you shouldn't say welcome back because they've never been there. And what they needed was for you to hook them. So an amusing anecdote, something funny that you say later in the video can even be pulled out to the front to hook people, or something interesting you say later in the video can be pulled out to the front. And this fits the exact format of your characters are gonna be in the opposite place in the beginning of the video as they will be in the end, and your characters in this instant are your audience. So you're like, "Hey," you don't start with "hey." "OMG, I know that you probably love Canva as much as I do, and you're probably constantly like in there doing the things, and I just learned the coolest tool that's gonna allow you to get this effect, and I wanna show you." That's a hook. See how much more interesting that was for you to keep watching than if I said, "Hey, welcome back to my channel. I'm Jessica Stansberry, and I'm so excited you're here. Today we're gonna talk about how to do this effect in Canva where you can remove the background and add an outline, and I'm gonna show you how." Do you see that? Okay, so that is your hook. I think this is by far the most important part of a YouTube video, hands down. Then, once I have them hooked, I keep that same energy up and I take them through the meat of the video. This is where I might do a tutorial. This is where I might talk through things like I am now. This is where like things happen, right? And then at the end, I'm gonna resolve that loop, okay? I'm gonna make that loop close. I'm gonna say, okay, now you know how to do that thing you didn't know how to do at the beginning that you were so excited to learn. With a vlog, it's the same thing. You've gotta hook them in the beginning. So instead of picking up the camera and being like, today's gonna be such a fun day, we're gonna do a work from home day in the life. No, they probably already know that because it's probably the title of your video. Don't do that. Stop it. Got to hook them, give them the meat, and then bring the resolution around. That's kind of the format there. Now let's look at the way my brain sees this, because I really need you to understand open loops and closed loops too, because that is such a big part of all of this. So instead of a story being this like linear line, like we have a starting, a beginning, and an ending, which we do. That's like literally the most basic form of storytelling. But instead of it being a linear line, it looks more like this. There's going to be a starting point, a gap in the story, which we're gonna call an open loop, a continuation of the story where the ending comes back in and fills in that gap. That is the format that you wanna follow. You've got to open loops in people's minds in the beginning of the video that you don't close until the end to keep them around for way longer. And I can't wait for you to see the story behind the actual commercial we're filming tomorrow, because it does this too in a really unique way. But you've gotta open loops. If you can think of your hook as a way to hook them, but also make them say, wait, I missed something or I'm missing something and I'm gonna have to watch to the end of the video to make sure it comes back around, you will win this thing every time. Okay, so let's talk about the actual, like what I'm doing tomorrow. Like what this vlog is gonna look like, at least in my head right now. Now, before I show you this, with vlog content, you wanna have a general idea, but you wanna leave it open to things happening. Right? Odds are the day is not going to go exactly like you planned for it to go. Like when you're thinking of your story that this vlog is going to do, odds are something's gonna happen, something's gonna be funny that you didn't expect to be there, something crazy is gonna happen, whatever, and you can remold the story. But if you have a general idea of how you want the story to go and you want the vlog to look like, then you can make sure you have those shots, and those shots can be remolded if you need to. And I'm gonna give you a real life example of that as soon as I kind of walk you through what I want to do tomorrow. These are the notes that I actually wrote for this video that you're watching right now. And I just went ahead and put in kind of the structure or the notes for tomorrow's vlog. I already know that there's probably going to be 2 open loops in the vlog, because I want them to stick around and watch the rest of the vlog, want them to like be excited to see what happens throughout the day, that kind of thing. But I also want them to stick around to the very end to see the actual commercial. So what I envision is that something funny is gonna happen tomorrow. Like I just know, you know, you get 3 girls driving 2 hours away to go to a studio and there's a commercial that they gotta film and I am the character in it and like all of these things. I know something's funny is gonna happen. So I'm gonna use something funny that happens as the hook of the video right now in my idea. Again, that could change tomorrow when I get there and something else happens and I'm like, no, okay, never mind, I don't wanna do it that way. But for now, that's the thought, is something funny is gonna happen. I know it will, something interesting. It doesn't have to be funny, something interesting, and I'm gonna pull that out and let it be the first of my video as like a this is what's about to happen type of hook to hook them in. That's gonna be loop number 1. Then loop number 2, us in the car on the way to what we're doing, or this might even be possibly me getting ready in the morning on the way to meet the girls to what we're doing, to tell you what we're doing and kind of set up the scene and create open loop number 2 so that you want to stick around to the end to actually see the final commercial. Then I know we'll get down there, we'll set up. I want to do a little interjection while we're there about how I created the storyboard for the commercial we're filming with ChatGPT and Canva, so I want to make sure that's in there, which by the way was super cool. So definitely stay tuned for that vlog for that because super fun. Actually filming funnies, which will close loop number 1 when we finally show them what happened to lead up to that moment they saw in the hook. And then the final commercial at the end to close loop number 2 to show them actually how all of this came together. So again, I don't expect the day to go perfectly. I don't expect it to go just like this. but this is the idea I have in my head so that I know what shots we need to get to make a vlog story come together. And if it goes in a different direction, cool, I'll make that happen too. So a few years ago, when I was kind of really starting to learn about storytelling in videos and things like that, like trying to make my content better, my oldest son was graduating from 6th grade. And I was like, I want to make a video about this. But instead of the traditional, like, I filmed the whole thing and nobody will ever watch this again kind of content that we do as moms, right? Like, you recorded the whole recital, you recorded the whole graduation, you recorded the whole thing. I was like, I really want this to be a story. And so I sat down and I really thought about it. And I was like, okay, how can I hook them? How can I make the beginning be very different from the end, right? Like a different spot in the end. How can I incorporate all of these little pieces? And in my head, what I came up with was a story where he was getting up, he was getting ready for his graduation, and then I was sitting there, he was on stage, like all of these things, right? And then I knew I would end it in some way with him like waving goodbye to the school or something like that. Because he started as a 6th grader, he's gonna end as not a 6th grader anymore. And I had that general idea. So I made sure to get the footage in the beginning of the day where he was getting ready and to get some footage at the very end where he was like waving goodbye to the school. And then the middle parts were just the parts where I was videoing basically everything that happened. But a piece that I could not have predicted that made the entire story so much better was that one of his classmates wrote and then performed a poem at their graduation, which I then used as the audio over top of the entire video. And it fit perfectly. Like I molded my content into that audio. And I could have never predicted that. I had no idea this girl was gonna do that. So what could have been, again, a phone video, even my good camera video of me like, you know, here's the graduation and this, it's just here and nobody ever watches it again, turned into this.
That's even worse.
Good night.
Kick. I said get out of here.
You're not gonna kick me.
I will kick you.
No, you won't.
Yeah.
Get up.
The change of the future starts in the classroom. When I look around my classroom, I see people who can change the world. These people, my friends, my classmates. It could be their artistic abilities, intellect, or talents. Whatever it may be, everyone is special in their unique way. But it's those who dream of change that makes a change. The change that they bring may be small, or great and unforgettable. These people in this classroom. I see doctors who could cure cancer.
His courage and determination are an inspiration to us all. Please join me in giving Aaron a round of applause.
I see astronomers who can discover a new star or planet.
You may be wondering what this means. To find your voice, inspire others means for you to find your place in your community or job by finding something you have a passion for and sharing that with other people who can help you achieve that goal. As 6th grade students, we've all pursued our goals that we set at the beginning of the year.
I want to officially welcome you. The kids laughed at me this morning because I was talking to them and I started tearing up. Those students are Kason Stansberry.
Kason Hart Stansberry.
I see engineers who could design and build buildings of the future. I see a nation full of blossoming minds, full of light in the darkness of our world. We all have the power, the ideas, the dreams. Are you ready to change the world?
Okay. Editing Jessica here. I am editing this, and it's been a while since I've watched this video of his 6th grade graduation, and that same kid he was about to go to high school. Me watching a video of just his graduation would not have caused this. It would not have caused the mama tears to start flowing, because that same kid is about to graduate middle school and go to high school. That's what stories will do. Storytelling makes such a big difference. So tomorrow, as we go down to this studio I rented and we have all the things in place and we're thinking about what kind of footage we need for the behind the scenes video, we're going to be thinking about it from a standpoint of what kind of story can we tell with this. This is the story I think we're gonna tell with it, but it could turn into something different. There could be something else that happens and I completely turn it around. But we have to create a story, because the whole goal here is to create a YouTube video that y'all wanna watch, that's exciting and fun, that then shows off this commercial that I want you guys to see. And in order for you to get to the end of the video where I'm showing off the commercial, I have to do the first part of the video right. So, in a true practice what I'm preaching kind of scenario, I'm gonna leave this video on an open loop. I'm gonna end this video having closed loops I opened in the beginning, but opening another loop. So hopefully you'll wanna come back and watch the vlog that I'm talking about. And that's how storytelling works. That's how these people who get people to come back for every video and get them to watch every video at its core, that's how it works. So hopefully this video helped you see how you can be a better storyteller, and come back in just a few videos to see this vlog that we worked on to show you the commercial that we filmed, because it's gonna be super freaking fun and you're gonna wanna see it. Bye y'all. Cheers. Cheers. Oh, turn around, turn around. He's cute. Wow. Yeah. I like looked there and then I looked there and I felt my eyes cross.